Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at NBA legends giving their opinion on how good Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon was. So my favorite big of all time. But before we start with this video, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to support this channel, do me a favor, check out my Patreon account. It's always appreciated. And I would say let's get right into today's episode. Now, the first player that we're going to start with is Hakeem Olajuwon's former teammate, Robert Horry. No matter what show Robert Horry is on, he never misses a chance to actually talk about Hakeem and also give his opinion on how sensational and great Hakeem was.
Can you explain to folks who might not, again, be some of the young folks, what made Dream so special?
So, first of all, dude, everybody know who Hakeem Olajuwon is? You know, this guy's footwork was some of the most amazing footwork you will ever see. But his tenacity in the gym, I mean, like, you think he was mad during the game. He was even madder during practice if the guys wasn't practicing hard or he felt like we weren't putting forth the maximum effort. And that's what you want out of guys. You just want to come to practice and play hard, because if you go really, really hard in practice, sometimes it's easier in the game, because in practice, you don't have timeouts. In the game, you have timeouts, you have TV timeouts, but it goes to show you how great this guy was. You know, Hakeem Olajuwon is Muslim. And so during Ramadan, he's not allowed to drink or eat anything. So we had a noon game. And so you can't eat or drink anything until sundown. This guy still puts up 40 points, doesn't drink any water, doesn't have a meal before the game to get himself right. That lets you know how amazing it's good. And if you ask Michael Jordan what one guy he ever feared, it was Hakeem Olajuwon. He used to call us, I'm scared of the big African, because he's from Nigeria. That's what he used to say, because, you know, and the people out who are Chicago Bulls fans, I know this question comes up a lot. They always wonder, those two championships we won in Houston, we would have won them with Michael Jordan would have been playing? The answer to that question is yes, because they couldn't stop Olajuwon. We might not be able to stop Jordan, but they couldn't stop Olajuwon. We did have a guy that could kind of slow Jordan down, and Vernon Maxwell. So before that question ever pops up, yes, we'd have won two championships if Jordan would have played.
Now, the next player that we're going to take a look at is Shaquille O'Neal. And actually, that's one of my favorite interviews, because Shaquille O'Neal has so much respect and love for Hakeem Olajuwon. Actually, he used to be Shaq's favorite big back in the days. There are countless interviews, especially in the early 90s, where Shaquille O'Neal always used to say that he really, really admired Hakeem. But this interview also is a very interesting one. So check it out.
I'm sure he's your favorite, The Dream.
Yeah, The Dream was my favorite because personal reasons. And the reason was he was a guy that I couldn't break. You know, all the other great centers, I was able to get into their heads a little bit. And that was just my way of trying to compete. You know, every young guy that comes up, you know, always put it in basic karate movie format. You know, you got the old guy in the white beard, which is me now. You got the old guy in the white beard.
Shaq Fu?
Yeah, Shaq Fu. But then you got the young guy that's coming up. So in order for you to be the master, you have to beat the master. So, I mean, I always knew these Patrick Ewing and Hakeem and Chief. I always knew these guys were 100 times better than me. But I didn't want them to know that. And then I wanted their spot. So, you know, I wanted their spot. So the 5 best sins, I'm glad you had to write them down. Hakeem to me is number 1.
But why couldn't you break him?
Because I couldn't get into his head. I remember one time I gave him a bow and he just laughed. nice elbow, brother. And then he came out and gave me a and shot a crazy fadeaway. Yeah, he gave me one of them. So the next time I came down, I dunked on him and I looked at him and he's like, okay, good morning. And he just came out, you shoot. And he gave it to me again. So he was my favorite.
Now, the next player that we're going to take a look at is Kobe Bryant. Such a smart and fundamentally sound player, but also a player that knew that he could always work on his game, which is why he used to work out with Hakeem Olajuwon.
After the game with Hakeem Olajuwon, anything you're willing to share, any signature moments that you had playing against him?
Thank you. Like, I watched Hakeem so much growing up as a kid. I learned so much from him. And being able to come out here and being generous enough with his time and spend an entire day with me in his house just working on football or whatever, detailing posts, sharing his knowledge with you. And hopefully this generation understands how great he was. Hopefully they go back and watch and appreciate his greatness. I just want to thank him.
What a fabulous career. And he hugs the great one, Hakeem Olajuwon. Wow. How about that? 2 Hall of Famers. Hakeem's in right now just waiting for Kobe.
Doesn't get any better than that, guys.
Now the next player that we're going to take a look at is Patrick Ewing. Yeah, one of the biggest rivals of Hakeem Olajuwon of the 1980s and 1990s. I mean, their rivalry goes back to the college days, Georgetown versus Houston.
Toughest matchup for you during your NBA career?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
How come? Just so athletic?
Athletic, quick, that dream shape.
And you got to make the adjustment, but he is a rookie.
Now the next segment is from NBA Open Court, where they had a discussion on who was the better big, Patrick Ewing or Hakeem Olajuwon. And every NBA legend has their own opinion. Check it out.
And see, when we were watching that video coming into the segment, when they show that dream shake against David Robinson, which is the one that, you guys, everybody's shaking their head and everybody goes, woo! And what do you, when you see a big man with those kind of moves and that fluid, what did you think?
I think about 2 things. I think, one, the fact that he made that move because you thought he was going to do the jump hook. Because he can hit you with the basic move. He has basic moves. So you have to be really good basically first to add everything else. And then when he hits you with the left shoulder or right turn, the playoffs, fresh rookie year, you get a book of what type of moves every guy like. He go 40% over shoulder. Hakeem, it was nothing but on this side, he may go left, he may go right. And he was the only guy ever in the NBA that was my height and a center that you had to move your feet when he's in front of you. Hakeem just didn't have the shake on the baseline. He would get you at the free throw line, give you a little stutter-step dribble, and you wouldn't know what to do as a big guy. You look in the guards, for help, and Hakeem wasn't that big. That's all. When I saw him, I was like, okay, he's not that big. And to be, every time he's blocking shots, elbow over the rim or the jump shots, his game to me was just, it was just so versatile.
It's funny, you talk about elbows to the rim and that big. He said to me one time, he's like, Kenny, I'm really sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry? He said, because sometimes you set out practice and you say you have this thing called tendonitis. I'm like, yeah, He said, I have it. It feels like a headache in your knee. This was 14 years into he had never had tendonitis. Right. He never knew what that was. So I'm like yeah, I said, Dream, my knee, I got migraines some days.
As a guard, that was the first big man that I started asking tape for. Because I wanted to see his footwork. One thing, Kenny, I could say, watching him in the layup line, him handling the basketball, he has spin moves. So I'm thinking, big guys, where does he get this from? But then also talking to Jim Boylan, who was the kind of assistant coach who's doing video for y'all, I was always asking him, he said the biggest thing about Hakeem was his counters. Everything a defensive had was his counters. So for me, trying to post up, I'm trying to learn all the counters. Unbelievable, phenomenal to try to pattern your footwork as a king. I couldn't do it because this is a guy. The footwork, it seemed like it was just fluid. It was something off of feel versus everybody trying to break it down.
Look, I agree with everyone here on the panel. I would go with Hakeem Olajuwon out of the 2.
Now the next one is a very interesting one. It's Michael Jordan giving his opinion on his all-time pickup game 5, and it's incredible. He chooses Hakeem Olajuwon to be on his team, which I personally really love to hear.
Hakeem Olajuwon. I got no chance of losing, none at all. Olajuwon, he was in the top 10 in 5 categories: steals, rebounds, block shots, scoring, and shooting percentage. To have a big guy of his size to be in the top 10 in steals. Now you can assume that he would be in blocks, which to me shows versatility of what type of guy he really was.
Action right side of the move, swings it outside to Currington, into Jordan. Michael in deep, scoop pass, tipped out of bounds by Houston. The Bulls get the ball with 13 to shoot. Field. Jackson turning on the dribble, in from the left side, kicks to Jordan in the left corner. Michael in the move against McRae, in from the left, lays it high. Blocked inside, Olajuwon, no goal. Pax works into the left corner. Jordan has it left in the circle. Michael in from the left side, lays it up, blocked, no goal.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching. That's it for today's episode. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you next time. Peace. I'm out.